Very good morning to you and welcome to News from here on GHOne TV. My name is Mohammed. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, Amenfi East NPP parliamentary candidate makes new turn as he justifies his allegedly insightful comments made to minors. Meanwhile, Western Regional Minister discloses alleged disbandment of anti-galamsey taskforce. On the campaign trail today, NPP flag bearer Dr. Bawumia begins a 3-day tour of the Ashanti Region, while NDC's John Mahama pledges to reclaim commonly acquired wealth by politicians when he's voted into power. Also in this bulletin, Mantse Asantehene promote peace in a historic visit to Accra by the Ashanti King. I'll bring you details of these and others all in this 60 minutes though. Just stay tuned. Hello again, my name is Mohammed. Now, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, has pledged that his administration will collaborate with relevant authorities to retrieve wealth and properties acquired through corrupt means if he is elected president in the upcoming 2024 general elections. The former president bemoaned the rising cases of corruption and flagrant disregard for fiscal discipline by the Akufo-Addo-led administration and promised to do his best to ensure all monies that were wrongly acquired are retrieved if he wins the upcoming polls. He made this known in a live broadcast themed Mahama Conversations.
There's a rising feeling of frustration and anger bubbling up amongst our young people. Justifiable anger and frustration against this failed administration. It is anger against the economic mismanagement, the hardships, the widening inequalities in our country, and the unprecedented corruption that has become the signature of this government. This change will also see the most far-reaching and detailed investigation of the many allegations of corruption and scandals leveled against public officials and their families and friends. This change will help to abort this administration's plan to foist the pliant vice president on us, to cover up for them, and thereby escape the searing scrutiny of accountability. This hot spotlight of accountability is reserved not only for appointees of this administration, it will also be available to sanctioned persons in my own administration who engage in similar conduct. Chartering private jets at $20,000 an hour for trips that our own Falcon executive jet could have done. And as the Minister for Defense explained it, because it had no shower for presidential baths. Ghana's youth have further experienced how a minister could stash millions of dollars in her home, and only God knows the full extent of Ghanaians taxpayers' money that is stashed away by many others in this Akufo-Addo and Bawumia-led government. But I say to the good people of Ghana that working with Ghanaians and the international and anti-corruption partners, we shall do all that is humanly possible to retrieve such wrongly acquired wealth.
Now, the former president has also promised to pay 20% of salaries of teachers who agree to serve in schools in rural areas as incentive. This is part of a grand plan to improve the quality of education in the hinterland.
one of the things we're going to do is that in designing any school at the basic level or at the secondary level, that design must include accommodation for teachers, so that when teachers are posted to school, they don't have to live in an adjoining town and have to take transport to go to and from work. Already they face an issue with the adequacy of their salaries, and so it makes it even more difficult if they have to pay transport to and from work. We'll have other incentives which will encourage teachers who go and serve in the rural areas. When I spoke with the teachers unions, we agreed that finally we'll do the mapping out of which schools are considered rural schools, and teachers who agree to serve in those schools will get a 20% allowance of basic salary as an incentive for them agreeing to serve in rural schools. We also talked about cancellation of teachers' licensure exams, so that when teachers come out of school, their final exam in training school will be the process for licensing them, so that they don't have to come back and take another exam. We've also discussed with the teachers about their promotion and the constraint that is created when they get to the position of deputy director, and that is an issue that we're willing to sit down with the teachers and resolve. One thing I've promised you is that I'll promise you a leaner government. We'll have fewer ministers, we'll cut government expenditure, so that any savings that we make, we can use it to better the lives of hard-working teachers and other professionals.
Away from politics, we focus on community development, where the Central Regional Office of the National Youth Authority claims that commercial motorcycle and tricycle riders are responsible for the surge in teenage pregnancies, child marriage and gender-based violence in that region. PRO4, the Ghana Okada Riders Association, Solomon Akpanaba, says he is very much aware of the ongoings of the phenomenon in that region. He prefers that it is a normal occurrence, but advised the riders to take care as sexually transmitted diseases arrive. He also asserted that the riders rather need to focus and prepare for the future. He spoke to the news team.
I know that most of the riders are not married, and some too go into extramarital affairs. It's normal. Even when you see them sitting down, the girls once a while will come and ask, I'm looking for this person. That if the person is not there at that time, you say, why? You say, it's my boyfriend. That kind of thing is happening. The system is hard. We need to save money and use them judiciously. Aside that, there are STDs in the system, and then some too may think they are playing, but when pregnancy comes, it becomes a tough challenge. It may bring financial burden to the guys involved. So we've been talking to them. I also want to tell my riders that they should be extra careful with how they live their life, both on the road and their private life, because we have determination, we have ideas, we have visions, we have objectives in life to fulfill. We didn't come to just ride and end up having nothing for yourself.
Let's now touch on our fight against galamsey. Now, the NPP parliamentary candidate for Amenfi Central, Ernest Frimpong, is justifying his comments made in a viral video allegedly inciting illegal miners. The said video showed him allegedly advising illegal miners to resist military personnel who attempt to forcefully remove them. Here's what he said.
It is a one now 5 million, 3 million, 10 million, now we can answer over 1 of the man. Sadly, because the police for this is doing that in the office. I can't kill sister. What we have on the room, we have left the room. And it's the idea of the patrol, as I said, only the young guy. So while we have no money, while person in the all board in our body. I said, the person, or you say you're making it. But you control what I am here and track a village and no one of our power. Oh, yes. So, our petrol or the petrol and the Akase, authority on the air, you must have mature. That Jeffrey said, you go home here, you get a moment to or over here, you got two things. I said, but the women are so we know where they're for. And when I go down by so here, you might do, or where one of them is a poor. So, who is high as it seems to be done? What you are going to do as a senior leader. When you cite only police for Kenya or Malaysia, you are going to and the police will not be able. But the government is out there or what did you have about week of about 4 or 5. Who may be one police or when you want me, I went to your worker. Who may be one master journey or when you want me, I went to your worker. And if you also got the idea of bonus and perform action, why you to go there will be the kind of thing you see. Let me what you go when you see and the empty man. And who see that? No one did you list. Ever want you to gain a number. Neither want you number of the platform. Platform and better PMC, better regional minister, and the other two. Now, yeah, say who they say. So, what was signed the video before one of the air? Who they prepare me and let's make it. Voice message, actual platform, which is institutions from the.
So that's the NPP parliamentary candidate for Amenfi East. Well, we spoke to him this morning and he says he was taken out of context. But we'll bring you that later. Meanwhile, the Western Regional Minister, Kwabena Ocheda Komensa, who was also seen in that video, has also been seen saying that anti-galamsey operatives such as Operation Vanguard and Galamsey have been disbanded. Let's hear him.
It's a first and foremost in your we are not against you. Rather, we want to support you tonight. Sister Ekasi, offer Operation Vanguard, Operation Horse, Operation Galamsey, is the support. Yeah, the person who you are Mantse Asantehene. The son said, if you say, my name you need to know. Like I said, maybe I want to hear my name now. You want to look at this fine. No, I let that to know your man, MC. I a friend of the committee from district mining committee.
Let's engage a security analyst on the back of these comments. Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst and he joins me via Zoom. Dr. Bona, good morning to you.
Good morning and good morning to our viewers.
Now, for a country that swiftly condemned the attack on a military personnel, I talk about Major John Mahama in this context, and for a parliamentary candidate to be seen making pronouncements, and for a regional minister who is the head of the regional security to be present at such a meeting, how scary are these comments?
Well, this actually suggests, unfortunately, that Major Mahama, may his soul rest in peace, he died for nothing. He died for nothing. This is probably what I can say. And so I want to believe that there will be soldiers and there will be police officers and forestry guards and other national security operatives who might be involved in fighting, this illegal menace in our communities, destroying our water bodies and trees and what have you. They would have to take a cue from this. Because then if you have whole parliamentary candidates, and then you have before a regional minister who heads the Regional Security Council come out to say that, a PC saying that when you see a uniformed officer who comes to your mining site to tell you to confiscate or burn them, if you can't beat him up, and he has the nerve, the audacity to attempt to explain to us as if the language he spoke in, he is the only authority linguistically in that particular language. The rest of us, we don't understand it. I think he thinks he spoke Mandarin, or he spoke some other language, or maybe Hottentots that maybe some of us don't understand. Because then what you said is clear. Be soldiers and police officers who come to arrest you. And I can say, without missing any words, that there are times that there are covert operations that starts from Accra. So officers are sent straight from Accra to some of these areas because a certain chief or someone's concession has been invaded. So they go there to conduct operations without informing the Regional Security Council and the rest. So it means that if you are drawn, if you are a soldier or a police officer and you are drawn into this and you went there, chances are that they will lynch you.
Right.
And his party at the moment, they haven't distanced themselves from it. And he goes around making it look like he is an authority in the language, that language he spoke, which I find very unfortunate. But that is the audacity with which sometimes when people think that they do things and they can get away with it, they will continue to do it. I must put it that way.
The PC says he was referring to legal minors. Even in that regard, should that be the posturing?
Is that not disturbing? And such a person wants to be elected. Such a person wants to be elected. So do we have such characters in the August House of Parliament? Such a person is aiming to be elected to be our rep in Parliament, to be one of the lawmakers in Parliament. Who doesn't understand that even when we look at the Act 29, that talks about, private citizens' arrest. It says when you do the arrest, it didn't say you should mete out instant justice. It says when you do an arrest, you should immediately transport the person or transfer the person to the custody of the police immediately. That's what it says. It didn't say beat the person, but what he is saying, this person is, and he said it, unfortunately, before a regional minister, and you saw the regional minister dancing around it. And at the moment we haven't received anything. I am expecting the Ghana Police Service to apprehend him, because you see, we are having, some police officers recently were killed around Kasako.
Yes.
We have had Major Mahama who was killed. We have had police officers and soldiers who have been killed left and right. And so mine is that if they don't apprehend this guy and anything happens to any of them, we will not spare them, because the truth is that it is the police and the military and the other national security operatives who are sent into this area to fight this menace. And they are supposed to obey instructions. And you have these persons who, I would say, have no respect and regard for these officers and the work they are doing, actually saying publicly that beat them up. And he comes to explain that I was taken out of contest. Which contest was he taken out of? I mean, and so you see, when the president said I put my presidency on the line, some of us said it was a rhetoric. Because they are not telling us, even though they are not telling us that Galam stop and the fight against galamsey is stopped. But we have not received anything from Jubilee House, or have we received anything from the sector minister who is in charge of these things. But they are telling us that there is no longer these outfits that the Galam stop and anti-galamsey, Vanguard and all those ones have been stopped. But we haven't been informed. And so what it means is that these guys are destroying our environment with impunity, with the tacit support of persons like this PC and the regional minister. And we don't care, because then I'm in power, so I can do what I want to do and no one can touch me. It's very unfortunate. And this is worse. You know what you said is actually worse than is it Nakolu or something? The Kaswa PC. This is worse. Someone who is inciting violence. Someone who is inciting violence, and the person is walking free. He's inciting violence against not ordinary persons, but uniformed personnel who might be armed, and you are inciting violence against them. It is just like calling for war. I've said that because I don't think for this declaration against uniformed men, if they get to a mining site and you attempt to beat them, they will hold their AKs and their rifles and be looking at you to beat them and kill them like John Mahama was killed. I don't think so. Is that what the country we want to be in? The state of affairs at the moment. It's very reprehensible, if you ask me.
Should we have heard from the Defense Minister, Dominic Nituro, by now? Because I remember in 2023, in March, he emphatically asked Ghanaians to respect men in uniform in the spirit of fostering peace between civilians and men in uniform. There's a silence worry.
Sorry. We need to hear from the president. He's the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. We need to hear from the defense minister. We need to hear from the interior minister and also hear from the national security minister. We need to hear from these persons. Let's hear from them because this is not just the issue. Honorable Nituro is only in charge of the military. But you have the national security minister, you have the interior minister, and you have the president who superintends over National Security Council. So we need to hear from all these bodies or institutions. But unfortunately, we are not hearing anything. And so as we speak, if a military officer or a police officer or a national security operative, you ask that operative to go into the bushes and fight galamsey, and that person told you, I will not go, are you going to query that particular officer? I mean, that is the question some of us are asking because it is there, it is audible on video, visuals, and I mean, everything is clear that attack them when they come. Attack them when they come. Don't let them go. And in one way or the other, it says, if you want to give them money, you can see if you want to give them money. So do they give them money when they come there? Do they give them money when they come there? What is he alleging that we don't know? You see, when you analyze a statement, there are different, angles to it. He spoke about bribery and corruption. He spoke about violence. He spoke about resistance, and in frequent disregard for our laws in this country, and that we are watching. And when you say it's not calling you names, for me, I think it's just untenable that this PC, we still haven't received any official information, and he is talking and telling us that probably is the only master in the language is spoken linguistically. We don't understand it, and therefore we took him out of context when he was audible on video, not even on audio. Very, very, very audible with visuals attached. I mean, how do you defend this? And as we speak, if you drive into the Eastern region, these days they don't even do the illegal mining far away, but they do it just close to the road. I drove there last month, and I went to Intronai, and I was like, what? The guys are digging everywhere close to newly asphalted roads, and you have a parliamentary candidate, and with tacit support of his regional minister. Okay, speaking this way, I mean, it's bad, if you ask me, very bad.
Okay, Dr. Mana, thank you very much. We'll leave it here for now. We'll hopefully wait to hear from the President, the Interior Minister, Defense Minister, and the National Security Minister as well. This is still Newsroom here on GHOne TV. Now, in a response on Morning Star on this same subject, the PC4 Amenfi East NPP said the video was taken out of context. He claimed to have been speaking to legal miners who were attacked by uniformed men.
I am telling you as the one who organized it, and I'm telling you as the one who said what you are saying, that we were challenged to hear some of them saying that people take up with the name Vanguard, Balanced, what. And I said, those things, they are not there again, we will go all of them. So you take on a portion of an audio and you make your story out of it, And you are calling me for clarity, and I'm giving you, and you are still insisting that I said this. So the clarity is that we have withdrawn these Vanguard and Galamsey and what, but we know what is everything they know. And these people are not the illegal miners. So whether an operation is in existence or not, these are documented personnel who are doing their business according to the norms of our mining act. And so when they get treated like they are being illegal, that is what I meant them. They are concerned to be addressed. And so I did not meet galamseyers. So go back and change the story that I am inciting galamseyers to meet sayers. Now that you've had the clarity, see, they meet these miners in the bush. Does the police or the military have the right to beat civilians for doing their legal businesses? In fact, we will continue to protect our river and forest and make sure that our lands are being reclaimed. We are only encouraging legal mining, and that is why I make legal mining.
So he had the Amenfi East parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party. He says, and he emphatically mentioned that Operation Galamsey has been disbanded. Well, our cameras will go around, will check, will speak to the Inter-Ministerial Committee and find if indeed it has been disbanded. Let's find out what are your thoughts on social media. Nama, what are people saying?
Well, still on the Galamsey thread, but we are talking about how Chinese interpreters, the Greater Accra Forestry Commission, are saying that is stopping cases in the court because we have a lack of them. When we go over to Facebook, Nana Boachi says that's a travesty to justice. Do you throw out cases of Ghanaian nationals who are illiterate and can't comprehend the English language and are prosecuted for the same crime? We are gradually being enemies of ourselves. How and why should the Greater Accra Forestry Commission perpetuate such an act? Are Chinese nationals demigods? Then when you move over, we have Eric who says this issue, if really Forestry Commission want to fight this problem, they can support interested officers who wish to study their language to help so that they can help in interpretation when the case is in court. Enoch adds, what happened to AI? It will be hard for this country to develop with such kind of leaders. Haji says, upon all the digitalization they call themselves, they don't even know there's millions of ways to translate the Chinese national. Simple calculation. Then we have Terry, a country called Ghana with PhD leaders by the country always losing its respect because of bad leadership. Indeed, Dutch passport will always win. And then over to Instagram, Eric says, please, some of us can speak fluent Chinese, so if they need help, they can talk to me for translation. They shouldn't be thrown out of the court because of the lack of translation. The laws must deal with them accordingly. Lonzo says, yet we have a high commission that we finance with our taxes. The more you hear these things, the more angry you get. Then the next comment, hey Ghana, we are a joke, pa. Lack of Chinese interpreters. The whole thing is these Chinese operate for government officials. It's shameful that we pretend to fight Galamsey only to be planting trees. Our laws were made for the poor and needy. Sad. Then Uncensored says those Ghanaians in China doing TikTok videos should come and do the interpretation. Then we move over to X. All a judge needs to do is mention 20 years in jail, and they'll speak the language we all understand. Then Charlene says, so all the Ghanaians who have gone to China for studies and returned, they forgot the language they studied in? She is asking. Then here, even among the Galamseyers, there are interpreters who coordinate between locals and the Chinese. These lies, he says, should stop. And our last comment on X, Abdul, who says or asks, so what exactly is the use of Legon Department of Modern Languages when we can't even get Chinese interpreters? So many people have offered their services. So Ghana Forestry Commission, if you need any, hop onto our social media and you will see them. We also have the Ghana Speakers Society Association in Ghana, who have actually issued a statement also offering their services. So you have so much more to consider. My name is Nunama Akwa. Lily, back over to you.
Thank you very much. I remember a friend told me a quote that make money, some rules are only for the poor. Anyway, let's dovetail into some politics. The 2024 flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party is beginning today his tour of the Ashanti region. Dr. Bawumia's campaign activities will kick off with a meeting with the Ashanti regional executives of the party, government appointees, members of parliament, parliamentary candidates, the regional council of elders, the council of patrons, constituency chair, among others. He will later meet all paramount chiefs and queen mothers at the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs Secretariat in Kumasi to present his vision to them ahead of the launch of his campaign manifesto for the general elections. The vice president will also meet the clergy before meeting Muslim leaders in the afternoon at the Kumasi Central Mosque and will later in the afternoon meet traders at the Kumasi Central Market. Some sources say it is likely the NPP flag bearer will announce his running mate during the tour of the region. Isaac Justice Bidiakwe is our man in the Ashanti region, and he joins me with the information. Isaac, what have you gathered so far? Where has Bawumia been to? And what has he been telling the people he met? Hello, Isaac, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, Isaac. Are you there? I'm asking, where has Bawumia visited so far, and what is the message?
Hello, we're currently the Vice President in the morning first visited the Suvan Hotel where we met party members and other stakeholders within the MPP in their region. This week,
Hello, Isaac, are you there? Hello, Isaac. We seem to have lost Isaac there. Vice President Bawumia is on a 3-day tour of the Ashanti region. We lost Isaac there. But his campaign activities this morning began with a meeting with Ashanti regional executives of the party, government appointees, members of parliament, parliamentary candidates, the regional council of elders, the council of patrons, constituency chair, among others. It's 12 o'clock, so this afternoon he will meet all paramount chiefs and queen mothers at the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs Secretariat in Kumasi to present his vision. He will also meet the clergy, Muslim leaders, and also meet traders at the Kumasi Central Market. Now we're learning that the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahama Bawumia, is likely to announce his running mate during the tour of the region. That's what we're learning. We'll give you detail as and when we confirm that indeed Dr. Bawumia will announce his running mate. Who is going to be Dr. Bawumia's running mate? Well, we are to see so many names bandied. You're still watching Newsroom here on GHOne TV. Let's bring you a quick recap of our top stories. Amenfi East NPP parliamentary candidate makes U-turn as he justifies his allegedly insightful comments made to minors. Meanwhile, Western Regional Minister discloses alleged disbandment of anti-galamsey task force, and according to Adam Bona, that is false because he has not gotten wind of that yet. On the campaign trail today, flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, has begun his 3-day tour of the Ashanti region, while NDC's John Mahama pledges to reclaim corruptly acquired wealth by politicians when he's voted into power. Mantse Asantehene promote peace in a historic visit to Accra by the Ashanti King. Now time for the business brief. The Ghana Chamber of Mines repatriated over $4.2 billion of the $5.9 billion mineral revenue recorded in 2023. Speaking at the 96th Annual General Meeting, the President of the Chamber, Michael Edem Akafia, revealed that a total of $2.7 billion was channeled through local banks, which was marginally lower than the value of the same transaction in 2022 with $2.73 billion. He explains that in 2022, about $1.41 billion, I beg your pardon, was transferred through the central bank, with 2023 recording an increase to $1.5 billion.
Ghana saw an increase in production and export of traditional minerals, except for manganese. Gold production rose from 3.7 million ounces in 2022 to 4 million ounces in 2023, which represents an 8.3% increase, driven especially by expansion in small-scale mining. However, large-scale gold mining production declined from 3.1 million ounces in 2022 to 2.9 million ounces in 2023, whereas small-scale production saw an increase of 70.6%, from 0.66 million ounces to 1.1 million ounces. We producing members realized $5.9 billion in mineral revenue in 2023 and repatriating $4.2 billion of that to Ghana. This included $2.7 billion, which was done through the commercial bank, and $1.5 billion through the Bank of Ghana. The mining sector also spent $7.29 billion in the local economy, exceeding mineral revenue with significant expenditure on non-energy goods and services, which ranges from salaries, diesel, taxes, and corporate social investment.
Now, the flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, says his proposed 25-hour economy initiative is answer to solving Ghana's financial and economic difficulties. The former president said the proposed 24-hour economy initiative is the answer to Ghana's challenges.
The 24-hour economy initiative is the answer for now and the future. It will create an enabling environment with deliberate policies for business, companies, and government institutions to operate 24/7 in a 3-8-hour shift system. In addition to the traditional 8-hour system, the 2 additional work shifts that my administration will introduce will double and sometimes triple or quadruple the number of jobs that participate in public and private entities that we currently have. This is the 24-hour economy optimization strategy, giving more to society, providing efficient service delivery, and generating decent and well-paying jobs. The benefits of this system will include, but not limited to, 24-hour port and harbor services, 24-hour customs services, 24-hour DVLA services, 24-hour agro-processing factories, 24-hour manufacturing industries, 24-hour construction companies, 24-hour diversified sanitation and waste management services, 24-hour financial institutions, 24-hour healthcare services, not just emergency care, 24-hour community pharmacy care, 24-hour tourism, creative arts and entertainment industry services, and 24-hour retail centers, and more and more and more. My track record in infrastructure development is well acknowledged, and we shall provide more.
That's it for Business Brief. Let's head to the entertainment zone, shall we? Now, Mark Mantse, Deputy Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, has urged Ghanaian filmmakers to integrate cultural elements into their movies as a means of promoting our history and heritage. He made this point during his speech at the press launch of the Africa Cinema Summit held here in Accra.
Over the years, there have been ongoing discussions aimed at expanding and enhancing Ghanaian movies through cinema platforms. For this cause, the National Film Authority, in partnership with Silverbird Cinemas and Film House Group, are working on the 2nd edition of the Africa Cinema Summit. The summit, which will be held under the theme, The Relevance of Cinema in African Communities, marks a groundbreaking initiative on the African continent. It aims to build upon the advancements achieved in the African cinema sector, promote partnerships, encourage innovations, and ensure enduring development. Addressing the media, the Deputy Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Mark Mantse, admonished filmmakers to inculcate culture in their movies in order to safeguard and promote African history.
History could always be taken from film. So this is the soft side I've always seen with film. Most of the time people look at the money and all of that, yes, but I see this. So for a country, or even Africa, we should see film as a document that will help us and our children.
He disclosed the ministry will ensure that a bill presented to Parliament to waive tax incentives for film producers by the National Film Authority will soon be passed.
John Asantehene and her team forwarded the documents to us that they wanted a tax waiver for the film industry. It's gone to Cabinet, it's gone to AG's office. AG has replied, asking some questions. I'm just coming from Parliament. So we are discussing. But unfortunately, when it comes to governance issues, things that the private sector could do in weeks, with public service, it could take months.
The Africa Cinema Summit is expected to take place from the 7th to the 10th of October here in Accra.
And so that's it for the news. My name is Mohammed. For more news update, kindly log on to skyfm.com.gh. Good afternoon.